into the ring where the stories get raw. Junkyard James spitting truth, no flaw. Beyond the junkyard, the tales collide. Wrestling's wild side, come and take the ride. Chairs fly, ropes snap, legends unfold. Every move, every slam, the drama is gold. From the underground brawls to the title fights, we break it all down under spotlight nights. Beyond the junkyard, where the stories get told. Steel cages, bright lights, the moment's so bold. From the past to the future, the match stays strong. Junkyard James, keep it real all day long. Tune in, strap up, it's about to get wild. Powerbomb the truth, no sugar, no mild. Every heel, every face, every match that burns. The junkyard delivers, now it's your turn. So hit play, no delay, the bell has rung. Beyond the junkyard, where the legends are sung. Junkyard James got the mic in his grip. Wrestling podcast vibes, now let's take the trip.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I'm your host, Junkyard James. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and listening to this episode today. This is being recorded on Saturday, the 31st of January, 2025, and it's the next rendition of the Solo Saturday show. I got a jam-packed show for you. If you listen to the live stream on Thursday, you kind of know the topic of today's discussion, or at least the main topic. So we'll jump in there in just a moment. I gotta do some, general housekeeping here. If this is your first time listening to the show, I appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, give us a 5-star review. If you are listening on this audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., make sure you follow there as well. Hit that notification bell, that way you're notified every time we go live or post another video. Thank you all for tuning in. We got 4 really awesome affiliate partners that we partner with on the podcast. The first being WWE Shop. Use that link in the description box. Hey, today is the Royal Rumble. Nothing says you support WWE like getting your WWE merch. Go ahead and support the podcast that way. The next thing I want to say is go ahead and support W Energy. Go to w.gg, use the code Beyond the Yard, get 10% off of your order there. Sorry, I had was switching cameras there. So anyways, w.gg, rss.com, and StubHub. All the links are in the description below. All right, let's jump into some conversation today. The first thing that I want to talk about is and I mentioned this on Thursday on the live stream. I want to spend a lot of time talking about my reaction as a Buffalo Bills fan, as you can see, to the hiring of Joe Brady as the head coach. My initial reaction, and then as the last couple of days have gone by, has my reaction changed any? I also, like I said, I it's Royal Rumble tonight or this afternoon, in about 2 or 3 hours from the time of this recording, and this probably gets posted either while the Royal Rumble is going on or after the show in general. So what are my thoughts on the Royal Rumble? I'll start with that, and then we'll get to the Joe Brady talk. So let's jump into it. All right, the Royal Rumble. Look, I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to WWE programming, but from what I've seen over the past several years is Triple H, when it comes to his big shows, he's not necessarily looking for continuity and storylines for these big shows. He's looking for ways that he can create the next viral moment. You take a look with John Cena turning heel. That didn't really fit long term into a continuous story, but they made it fit into the storyline so that they could get the John Cena heel turn moment when it happened. You look at Cody and The Rock and all of that stuff that was going on. You look at The Rock and Travis Scott and all of that was going on. A lot of that I don't think was meant to tell a continuous story. It was just ways that they can get a viral moment. And I think that's what we're going to get tonight at the Royal Rumble. We're not going to get the winner, at least of the men's Royal Rumble, will not make sense from a storyline perspective. But it's going to be someone that they can get a viral moment, if not, at the Rumble, at WrestleMania, because they're going back to Vegas. They're going back to Vegas for WrestleMania this year. And they're going to need a main event that is bigger than ever. And so, and I kind of was joking about it on Thursday when we briefly talked about the Royal Rumble, that I thought The Rock could win the Royal Rumble. But I thought about it yesterday and even some this morning. It would make sense in Saudi Arabia for Dwayne The Rock Johnson to come out, the final boss, Dwayne Johnson, to come out and win the Royal Rumble. And now imagine it this way. And if Rock does come out, he's number 30. He's the last guy to come out. And imagine it. The last thing that the people see at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns in the ring, the final two, right? Are the final two people. And number 30's left to be seen. The Rock comes out. We have The Rock, Cody, and Roman. And Roman takes out Cody. And what we're left standing with, I'm sorry, let me back up. Let me make it more sense. Because they got to make it make sense somehow. They're going to fit it in. It may not be, there's no storyline leading into it, but they're going to have to start a story somewhere. The Rock helps Cody take out Roman Reigns. And then The Rock takes out Cody Rhodes. And The Rock wins the Royal Rumble. And what we get is finally the match that we've been asking for, or that fans have been asking for. I don't know if I necessarily have been asking for it for the past several WrestleManias. We get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. And the way that they would have to make it make sense that we get to that match is Roman is going to have to be the champion. And so Roman says, I want to fight The Rock at WrestleMania. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to become a champion. And look at who the current champions are right now. Drew McIntyre is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, I believe. Hold on. Let me get the Let me steer you in the right direction. I don't want to tell you wrong. But look at who the champions are right now. Drew McIntyre, the WWE Undisputed Champion, and CM Punk is the World Heavyweight Champion. You don't think Roman has beef with CM Punk? You don't think Roman can beat CM Punk? They could throw that on a throwaway pay-per-view leading up to Mania. And it's Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. Or Roman wins the Rumble. I think that, to me, that is the most obvious of things. Is Roman wins Royal Rumble. He fights CM Punk on night 1 of WrestleMania. Wins the title. And night 2 of WrestleMania, we get Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Regardless, I think Roman Reigns and The Rock have to be the top guys to win. You look at the way they book, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Anybody that you think could make logical sense to win it, throw it away and pick the one that makes the least logical sense. And you're probably going to be closer to getting it right than getting it wrong. That's just how their booking has been with a lot of these big events. They're looking for viral moments. They're not necessarily looking for continuity within storylines. I think we're going to see people like Mr. Iguana, probably some AEW people that are crossing over. We'll see. Will Hobbs, maybe. Saraya was however you want to say her name. She was posting videos of her working out. It would not surprise me if she shows up as Paige tonight or this afternoon. I don't know what to expect with this show, but I'm going to watch it. And I think that's what makes WWE the most fun. Like this is why I watch this. To be honest, this is why I don't watch the weekly show with WWE, but I watch the pay-per-views because I think the pay-per-views are more enjoyable when you don't know the trash that's going on in the weekly shows. If you just get the matches on the pay-per-view, WWE is more palatable than if you have to watch 6 hours of TV every week to get to a pay-per-view to have the storytelling not make sense at the pay-per-view. But if you don't know what the story is coming in, it's at least a little bit more palatable at the pay-per-view. I don't know. That's just kind of how I justify it. I don't care to watch bad television for 3 hours a night, Monday and Friday, 2 to 3 hours a night. But I can spend a little bit of time to watch the pay-per-view, especially Royal Rumble. And it's more palatable. It's more enjoyable to me not knowing the storyline than it is knowing the storyline for WWE. Now, for AEW, it's a different story. I like the storyline and a lot of the AEW stuff because the week-to-week stuff is more match-centric. So you kind of have to know what's going on to understand what's going on at the pay-per-view. Two different perspectives on how to tell a TV, run a TV wrestling show. Well, that's all. I wanted to at least bring some wrestling onto this show and not just have it be like me bloviating about the Buffalo Bills for 20 minutes and then saying goodbye. So I wanted to since it is the day of the Royal Rumble, I wanted to at least do that. And for the Women's Rumble, I got my girl Liv Morgan winning it all, you know. So go Liv. But without further ado, everybody, it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show, at least on the Saturday show. It's time for the monologue. All right, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and Joe Brady being promoted from offensive coordinator to head coach of the Buffalo Bills. When this was first announced, was it Tuesday afternoon? I'm going to be quite honest with you. I was not thrilled. And I sent a text message to one of my good friends who's a Buffalo Bills fan. And I said, I sent the Twitter screenshot that said the Bills are promoting Joe Brady to head coach, and said, I'm so livid. And Tuesday, I was upset. I was really upset. I made this post as well on social media and said something isn't adding up. Terry Bagula said he fired Sean McDermott because the locker room was dejected after the Denver loss. They interviewed 9 head coach candidates and then hired Joe Brady as head coach, who was in that dejected locker room. So there were only 2 options. One, Joe Brady was so good in his interview, every other candidate was not as good as him. He was the best option. Or option 2, this idea was planned all along, that to use Sean McDermott as a scapegoat to get him out of Buffalo, and Joe Brady was always seen as the next head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I said, did Sean McDermott deserve to be fired? And I said, maybe. But his legacy is too important to be seen as a scapegoat for the problems of the Buffalo Bills. I said, I'll give it 2 seasons. If he can't get the job done in 2 seasons, I want him and Brandon Beane fired. Which, hold on. Breaking news. I'm going to break it on the show, I guess. According to Ian Rappaport, the Buffalo Bills have hired Broncos assistant head coach Jim Leonhard as their new defensive coordinator. I love it. I love the staff that we're building. I think that further advances the point I'm going to make here. Originally, I was pissed off that Joe Brady was the guy. But then I got to thinking about it like Tuesday night, Wednesday. I was listening to more of the people in Buffalo who kind of have their pulse on the temperature in the locker room of Buffalo. And then I think it was CBS Sports posted, it was NFL Plus, NFL's own social media account, posted the following statistics since Joe Brady became permanent head offensive coordinator in the 2024 season. The Bills are second overall in points scored per game. They're first in points per drive. They're first in rushing touchdowns. Fourth and third down conversion percentage. Third in total yards per game. And third in total yards per play. And it got me thinking, like Wednesday, like, is it really the offense that's the problem with the Buffalo Bills? Like, Joe Brady's putting up a top 5 offense with probably a bottom 5 talent in a lot of key positions. You can't sit here and tell me on paper that wide receiver room is very good, at least with the scheme that we were running. And I think maybe that was the issue. I made a joke on Tuesday that Joe Brady's offensive playbook is 2 plays. It'll be a jet sweep, a fake motion run, and a bubble screen type play, right? We're going to get bubble screens on 3rd and 12. And I made that joke, but the more I thought about it, it's like that was the scheme that we played. And was that Joe Brady's idea of offensive football or was he working within the parameters that was set by the head coach, Sean McDermott? And so I started listening more to some of these podcasts and kind of like, you know what? He is the head coach. I didn't make this decision. I really had my hopes set on someone like Brian Daboll, because like we knew Brian Daboll's offense would work with Josh Allen, but yet again, Josh Allen's making Joe Brady's offense look good. Like in Joe Brady's 2 years as full-time offensive coordinator, Josh Allen won an MVP and James Cook has won a rushing title. So I've settled on like maybe we can't put the full blame of getting over the hump on the offense. Like we scored 30 points against a Denver defense that rarely gives up over 20. Like even when they played the Patriots, Denver, and again, it's in the snow and maybe the conditions are a little different, but Denver only gave up 10 points. Denver's defense was a top 5 defense all year long, and we scored 30 on them with a injured Josh Allen behind center. So maybe I was at the point of maybe it's not Joe Brady's fault. Maybe it's the defense's fault. Once again, the defense fails us in the playoffs because we scored 30, but we gave up 33. We couldn't get a stop when we needed one. And I think I started to slowly maybe change my position Wednesday night. And I said, I can't wait to listen to his introductory press conference on Thursday. And I listened to it. I listened to a good portion of it. And what I heard from Joe Brady on Thursday radically changed my perspective of his trajectory as head coach. And my guy, Pierre Kingpin of Buffalo Fanatics, the guy that I listen to the most on game day, posted this on social media. Couple of things he took from the Bills head coach Joe Brady presser. He made it clear what coaching tree he fell under. Sean Payton's influence as a head coach plays a big role in his approach. Joe Brady made it clear that this is Josh Allen's team, and he remembers who we have. He made it clear that a hybrid attacking style of defense is what he prefers. Brady made it clear that relationships and connecting with players is essential to success. He quoted one of Joe Brady's quotes, "Quiet teams don't win." Pierre ends his comment by saying, without saying the words, he pretty much said, "We good on this side, big fella." I responded to that and said, he convinced me that maybe I overreacted on Tuesday. And this is my true reaction. I love his approach to flexibility and being able to play multiple schemes. And Joe Brady basically said, don't find players to fit a scheme, find a scheme to fit your players. Remember who we have. We have Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills. We have James Cook on the Buffalo Bills. And then after the press conference, they start hiring some people. They got an offensive coordinator that worked under Sean Payton. Got Jim Leonard now as the defensive coordinator. And so what this says to me is what Buffalo looked like last year, at least, is going to look a little different this year coming up. It's not going to be the same old. Another thing that I really enjoyed or appreciated from Joe Brady was that he showed emotion. That it almost felt like the offensive guys could joke around with the head coach, can have a little bit of fun in the locker room. And there were a lot of times last year where it felt like the team left the locker room to start the game and they were just like too tense. They weren't loose. It's not that they weren't ready to play football. It's that they were just they were so tense, and it almost felt like Sean McDermott would not allow them to have any personality, to not show emotion, essentially, right? And it makes sense. Sean McDermott comes from that defensive perspective of like hard nose, stay focused. That was his style, and it helped build a culture. But the thing is the culture has been built now. Now you get to let your guys show their personality. Now you get to let the leader step up. All that responsibility does not have to rely on your head coach anymore. And so I think Sean McDermott's mindset was, I still have to build this culture, not the culture is built. Now let's let the guys lead it where it goes. I love that Joe Brady made the distinction that the culture is driven by the players, not by the coaches. That Josh Allen helped set the culture. That James Cook helped set the culture. That the defensive guys helped set the culture. I love that Brandon Beane came out there and said he's working with Joe Brady to find a way to get Josh Allen weapons. I think Brandon Beane and Joe Brady will be super aggressive on getting one or two wide receivers for Josh Allen next year. Could you imagine? I love the fact that Joe Brady stood up for Keon Coleman and said, I was the one that stood on that table and said I wanted to get him. And I hope that the offense now fits him, because what we made Keon Coleman to be is not what Keon Coleman was good at in college. And I hope with this new system in place, we can start to look at the strengths of Keon Coleman's game. And maybe he has a breakout season next year. But could you imagine? Like maybe Keon Coleman isn't wide receiver 1, but can he be wide receiver 2? And we go out and we get we spend the draft capital. Because let's just be honest, Brandon Beane still hasn't proven that he's a really good drafter in the first couple rounds of the draft. I've said this for 3 years now. I would be willing to give up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick for Justin Jefferson, for A.J. Brown, for Brandon Ayuk, for a guy that can be your number 1. I would be willing to spend a little bit of money to bring in Alec Pierce from Indianapolis so that we can have 2 really good receivers, Khalil Shakir in there as well. So 3 good receivers, and then allow Keon Coleman to fill in where he needs to fill in, instead of having him have to be the guy, because it's obviously he hasn't fulfilled that potential yet. Instead of putting all the pressure on Keon Coleman, now he sits in a position where he can thrive in Buffalo with other receivers around him. I think it could work. I think Joe Brady made it very clear he wants to spread the ball down the field. And so here's my new revelation about Joe Brady. is that the Buffalo Bills are in a pretty good spot. And we have a culture that's built. We have a guy that came from the room that the offense already knows, and now he gets to throw his touch of expertise in it. Joe Brady's offense at LSU in 2019, probably the best looking offense ever in college football. You might say this year's Indiana team might beat it, but I think LSU had the best offense of all time in college football in 2019. Joe Burrow threw for 60 touchdown passes? Like, it's hard to get Josh Allen over 25 touchdown passes in the last couple of years. Like, he got the 39 touchdowns this year, but 14 of them, I think 12 or 13, 14 of them were rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen threw under 30 passing touchdowns this year. Spread the ball down the field is going to be great. Josh Allen's going to probably throw for 40 to 45 touchdowns and add a few on the run. This offense is going to be more versatile, I think, with Joe Brady. And now we get a new defensive system in here. And Jim Leonard, who is very good at defensive play calling and scheming and showing blitz but not blitzing, and not showing blitz but blitzing. Like, Jim Leonard is really good at that kind of thing. Joe Brady's made it clear. Sean Payton was a very good coach. I'm signing Sean Payton guys to my staff. I'm a Sean Payton guy, and I'm bringing in Sean Payton guys into my staff. I think I can still give him 2 years. I still think if this is a colossal failure, he probably gets fired, and Brandon Beane probably gets fired with him. But I'm more excited than I was on Tuesday. I have more hope than I did on Tuesday. And all I can say is the Buffalo Bills might be a better version of themselves next year. And that should be scary for the league. Because we already had a top 5 offense and a mid-tier defense. Now imagine if we had a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense. Maybe next year we open the new stadium and go win a Super Bowl. Oh no, that's all I had for this week, guys. Thanks for all of our affiliate partners. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Let's go Buffalo. Can't wait for next year. Let's fill this staff out. Let's get some good receivers. Let's get some good people in the building. And let's go win a Super Bowl. And at the end of the day, that's all we want in Buffalo. All right, y'all. That's it. And I'll talk to y'all next Thursday on the live stream with my boy Cody. And we'll see you next week. Enjoy Royal Rumble if you're going to watch it. Until next time, this has been an episode of the Beyond the Junkyard podcast. I'm Junkyard James. We'll see you on the next episode.
This is wrestling without the filter.